done this yet. Can we just do a quick round of scissors, paper, rock? Because I haven't beat TJ this week. You feel free to join, Trunzo.
But first of all, who calls it scissor, paper, rock?
Aussie.
What do you guys call it?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Paper, scissors.
Scissors, paper, rock, you idiots. What the hell's wrong with you? Weirdos.
Riders ready! 5-second warning!
We came to get wild and get buck. Came to rock the house and get drunk.
Well, welcome everybody. Episode 7, AubyNAussie Talk Cross. We're talking about the ladies of ice cross today. Again, we're just two goofballs in love with extreme sports who participate in ice cross downhill. I'm TJ Albrecht, broadcasting from Minnesota.
To second guess that. I'm like, did you move? Hey guys, Aussie Crasher, broadcasting from Brisbane, Australia.
We want to thank you guys again for joining. Looking forward to learning so much from our guests today. Welcome, Amanda Trunzo.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hashtag happy to be here. First question of the day. Is she going to do a shoey?
I mean, I have a shoe. And I have a truly. I'm a first timer, but terrible chugger.
They have all been first timers. We've taken many a showy virginities on this show.
This could be a mess here, but
you might need a towel.
I know. I also have shoes with holes in it.
That just means you have to drink quick.
Let's see. Doesn't seem to be going through the holes yet. All right, here we go.
Cheers.
Oh, it's just that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Success.
Another one down.
Another one down. Now I gotta grab a towel here. You were right not to do it over the computer. Don't
do that on top of electronics, people. It's not healthy.
Probably be buzzed off of that one now. Lightweight over here.
That was fantastic. That might have been our fastest one.
Yeah, you guys gotta start recording them. Start recording the times and see.
Yeah, well, Reed took an entire episode, so that was interesting. Everyone else has been pretty smart. We have had to tell everyone to do it, though, like to be prepared.
Reed's got some more years on us, though, so makes sense.
He also,
very
he also drank out of the smallest shoe known to man.
You have to watch last episode because it's pretty fantastic.
I will. I'll tune that one in.
I've watched it a couple of times and I still die laughing. But honestly, thank you for joining us. Just to kind of give the viewers a little bit about yourself, give us the who, what, where, when, why you decided to do ice cross.
Yeah, so I'll try to shorten up the story, but I started when I got out of college in 2011. It was back when Crushed Ice had flat ice qualifiers. I went down to the XL Energy Center here in Minneapolis. I tried out amongst men, women, but mostly men. And basically it was, you had to finish in the top 30. It was just a course that you jumped over some obstacles, slid under some obstacles, and top 30 advanced to the St. Paul track. I actually, out of all of the men and women, took first. So I kind of thought, well, that was fun. See you later. Good experience. Never thought I'd see it again. Well, all of a sudden I got a call saying, hey, they are going to do some wild card spots. You're in 31st. You're up for a wild card. You want to come to St. Paul. Here I go in 2011 to St. Paul. And actually, I think it was 2012, maybe like that beginning in January. So I headed out there, went to the track again, literally all men I was racing against. And I think I took probably in the 90s, I don't know, somewhere in that area. Kind of left that weekend, thought again, hey, fun, see you later, crashed ice. Well, they then called and said, hey, well, there's a women's race in Quebec in 2012. So if you want to come, you can come do it with the women. Freshly out of college, Red Bull said, hey, well, we'll fly you out here. We'll pay for your hotel. I'm like, sweet, got it. I'm in. Went out there in 2012, raced in Quebec, first race against the women, fourth. And then again, kind of just one of those things where I'm like, well, fun, but you only do it once a year. What are you going to do with this sport? So I kind of stepped away from the sport actually from 2012 to I think 2015 when it became a full women's tour. So I actually got a call from Cam And he was just like, hey, we know you've done the sport in the past. Do you want to come join the tour? He called me at the beginning of November. The first race was end of November over Thanksgiving in Quebec. I hopped on a flight and did the full women's tour that year. Yeah, it was kind of a weird, crazy ride, but stuck with it and kind of came full swing back to it.
And you were hooked ever since.
I was. I did that race in Quebec, and it's really funny to actually look back now at them, and I'm like, man, I wish I could do that course again. Because to me, that was like super terrifying. But now the races and courses that we've had are even more terrifying that I wonder what I'd think of that course that I first ever hopped on.
So that was 2015, right?
Because 2015 to 2016, 2017.
Quebec. Was that the year that it rained?
Yeah, it rained. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I remember that year. Luke,
Yeah,
were you there that year?
I think that was my first season, but I did the end of that.
That's right.
I did the last month of the tour.
That track was awesome.
Yeah. That was November 2015. It was a sweet track. And I just remember when it rained that next day, like it was just smooth. It was way faster. It was a crazy fast course, but yeah, really fun. Actually, a course I would like to do again.
Wait, was that the season where St. Paul had that first drop and the wall ride for the first time? Because if it is, then it's definitely my first season. Because that wall ride, we'll have to chat about that in a little bit, but that wall ride presented some problems.
Yep,
that was that. So
that was that. I'm pretty sure that was that same year. Yeah,
and we'll insert
15,
that
16.
clip here where, we have like 30 people not being able to make it over the wall. And then we might insert the other clip where we watch like 40 more people, fall over that first double section.
I'm in both those videos.
I would be in that video of not making it as well. So
that was a big track though. That was a big track.
I missed that track.
I just love starting in front of the cathedral. Like, do you see some of the footage of like someone down the bottom and you just see the 4 people lined up and the whole cathedral just lit up behind it? It is such an experience. And plus everyone in St. Paul loves the sport. So you have so many people out watching and just the crowds is just phenomenal. Yeah,
that backdrop is, I think, one of the most epic backdrops that you can get photos off of. And yeah, the crowd, like 100,000+ people, it's insane. Like, I have so many friends and family that are like, when's it coming back to St. Paul? It better be coming back here. It needs to come back here. And
even the people that you may run into who know about the sport ask about it. Like, oh, it hasn't been here for a couple of years. When's it coming back? Like, I've been trying to get it back all the time.
we want it here.
You mentioned you played a little bit of college hockey. Where did you actually play?
So I played out at Dartmouth College. So I played 4 years out there, 2007 to 2011. And yeah, I had a great time. I loved it out east. Then kind of in that junior, senior, post year, I played for the U.S. team on the U.S. national team. So I was actually one of the final cuts for the Vancouver Olympics in 2010, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
But I've always been on ice. I've always loved it. And then, so when Crashed Ice came out after, I had to give it a go.
That is just insane. And what a background. Now, if I'm not mistaken, too, you have a day here in Minnesota, don't you?
I do.
Tell us what that's about.
Right here is the proclamation on Amanda Trunzo Day. I got to actually look. March 10th, confirmed. Right there on the wall. You can see it's above the trophies there. The governor of Minnesota declared March 10th to be Amanda Trunzo Day after my first time winning Crashed Ice. So the first U.S. female to win Crashed Ice. So,
unbelievable. Congratulations.
Yeah. Is it a public holiday or do you still have to go to work?
I know I still go to work. I wish.
What's the point of having a day then?
I know we do tend to celebrate it every year, which ends up being a great time. But
but before we do jump into the rest of the show, there are 2 ginormous elephants in the room behind you. What years are they from? Tell us a bit about what it felt like to grab them, I guess.
The 2 behind me here was the 2018, 2019. Well, so 2018-19 years at the end of it. So yeah, it was crazy. A lot of hard work, I would say, was put into getting those for sure. When I first started Crashed Ice, I was just kind of like everyone else, a newbie into the sport. I had hockey background, but I really had no extreme sport background whatsoever. So I really, really had to dedicate myself to the skate parks. I needed to work on my air time, my air control, all those things were not happening at all. So after that first season, my intensity and workouts just kind of picked up. Yeah. And then I ended up going back-to-back world champions. So it was a great feeling, especially, amongst such a great, talented women's field that we have today.
Just insane. Absolutely. I mean, congratulations again, because that's quite an accomplishment. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Especially where the sport has come now and the amount of competition that you have from race to race.
Yeah, there's literally no easy race whatsoever. I feel like, it's the same on the men's field, but even further back, you guys are in your round of 64s and it feels like what could have been a semifinal in the years in the past. And it's no different than the women's side. Even from when I first started, you kind of look, maybe at that round of 16 and you're like, I'm going to take it easy, kind of cruise through and make it to that semi and hopefully that final. But there's really not much relaxing out there anymore because that round of 16 is jam-packed with some talented females too. So
that's actually a repeating thing we hear at the moment is in the current sort of sport where back in the day people were like, oh, just this heat will be easy. I'll go down half speed. I'm not going to say where we got it from, just to because I'll make it through this one definitely. But it's gone from every single heat is a battle now. So it is fantastic to see that both like all the sort of, I guess, leagues, the men's, women's and juniors are all kind of getting to that point. It just means that people are pushing so hard and the sport is on the leading edge of where it can be that you don't have time to, I guess, take it easy. So if you're watching the heats, you're not getting a half-assed run anymore. Everyone's going flat out all the time.
Two things with that too is like, it makes the wins that much sweeter because you feel so accomplished and that you did it against people who, are at the best of their ability. But then too, you see so many people who maybe do take that easy step or that easy, lackadaisical push through the end and they're getting passed or you've seen quite a bit of those too, where people are, no names mentioned, but celebrating a little too early. It's other people are still going hard till the end.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Real quick, just because I know you're actually pretty active on social media too, I want to make sure that our viewers, our listeners can follow you. Why don't you give a shout out to where they can see you?
Yeah, you can catch all my content at Amanda Trunzo on Instagram. I'd say that's my biggest one. Also, Amanda Trunzo on Facebook, although I don't have like an athlete's page or anything like that. So I'd say Instagram is for sure where it's at. You can catch some bulldogs on there, some workouts, and some great food.
Speaking of bulldogs, you're getting another one, aren't you?
We are. Yeah, we should be getting him actually this weekend. His name will be Yeti. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Another bulldog in the house. So yeah, we'll be quite busy for a little bit training that little guy, but no, it'll be fun. We're super excited.
He's got a good big brother, right?
He does. Yeah. Liney for Line and Kugel. So where our priorities are at.
Well, to kind of continue on, you've obviously been in the sport, like you said, from the very beginning when you tried in St. Paul. You took a little bit of a break there, and then you joined again in 2015. Where would you say, obviously, the women side of things in ice cross 5 years ago to now, some successes that you've seen and maybe some failures that you've seen as well?
Yeah. So I think some successes that I've for sure seen amongst the women is just the talent level. We kind of touched on it earlier, but it's just increasing so much. People are training, they're training for the sport year round. I mean, literally from when the season ends till when the next season begins, people are training, people are putting in the time, the effort, they're going to gyms, they're doing skating treadmills and all these things. So the talent level has just gotten so much better than what it was when you just did it for one weekend. People weren't training when you were just doing it for one weekend. I felt like it was more of a party event than an actual professional sport like it's become. Yeah, so I think that's probably the biggest success that I've seen. Some areas of growth that I think that the women's side can have is just still getting more women out there. I would love to see it expand past the round of 16 where you can get enough talent where you can make a round of 32 and continue on. We all know it costs a lot of money, a lot of time, work. So all those things are factors into it. But yeah, I think those are kind of the strengths and the weaknesses that I've seen so far.
I think that's awesome. I mean, you summed it up perfectly. And that's just in the past year. Where do you think the women's side of things is going to go in the next 5 years? Obviously, you already mentioned growth, more women. Is there anything specifically, I mean, that you've heard from the women, whether it be Jacqueline or Anais? Where do they want the sport or the women's side of things to go?
Kind of the same as the men. I think that it would be in a great Olympic sport. I think that is where it should go, where it could go. It's a great spectator sport, really easy to follow. People love it, all aspects of it. So I think, for both sides, especially when it becomes an Olympic, you got to have the women and the men in there. So, I think that's kind of where it can go and where it should go for all sides. Yeah, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. So, that's kind of the talk and how we can develop it. I know on the U.S. side of things, we've gotten Pam and Sam Mavison, who have been a great addition to the U.S. side of things. But just continuing to add, to reach out to people, to grow the community around us, I think is what's going to keep us on the up and up.
I love how you brought up the Olympics. That's exactly what we're going for too, right, Aussie?
Yes, exactly. I was actually going to bring that one up. I'm like, well, what would be your take on having obviously more skate cross events compared to the ice cross events? Would you be against jumping on the inlines and giving it another go, or?
No, yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I actually have a sponsor in FR Skates. And so they have reached out a couple times here. Obviously, it's been a little different now with COVID, but wanting to see if I'd maybe be interested in going to like a Barcelona into Spain and stuff like that and doing, I know they have a lot of events there. So I'm like, heck, Barcelona, Spain. Yeah, I'll go there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And I would love to, give it a rip. I know a couple crashed ice people in the past have done the skate cross events too, and they've really liked it. So yeah, I would love to do it. I get out on my inlines quite a bit. So yeah, I think it'd be super cool.
Well, that just means Aussie, you got to set up a skate cross, and then, Trunzo and I will come out and race.
I'm working on it so hard. It's so hard to convince BMX tracks to let a bunch of random people rollerblade on the surface after they've got it all nicely prepped. So I'm trying.
Trunzo's good at working that angle. She's gotten us into a track up here in Minnesota. So
I got to skate that.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic fun. Like, that was a hell of a day out. I think that was like when I just moved to Canada. I was down in America for a little bit. It was St. Cloud, the track, right?
Oh, Pineview. That was the first one.
Sorry, Pineview. Sorry, that's too far. Oh, you guys are going
another one there's two.
Rum River, right?
Oh, there's another
one.
Yeah,
Rum River. Yeah, they're awesome there. It's pretty much like what you described as Pineview, is like the outdoor BMX course, but this one's actually indoor. I'd say it's a little, just because of the indoor, maybe too, I'd say a little bit nicer, just because it's more compact. It stays better indoors, and they take really good care of it and take a lot of pride in it. So yeah, we got to get out on there a few times before the ice cross season. So that was pretty cool, and hoping to get back in there, throughout the off season too.
Yeah. Huge shout out to them, because that was tremendous help right before our season. That's for sure.
Oh, never mind. I actually saw the footage of that. That was the one that little Eli was flying on, absolutely obliterating it. Okay, yep. I'm okay. I know that track now. That looks like a lot of fun. That looks like a lot of fun.
Legs are burning real fast in that one.
Well, that actually leads nicely. Luke, I'm going to fight you every time you try to talk over me.
Wait, what?
In every episode.
Wait, what?
That actually leads into our next section nicely, the training. On ice, off ice, you just mentioned Rum River and some BMX tracks, but what are a couple other things that you like to do for training?
My big one, probably my biggest one, is CrossFit. I do CrossFit about 6 days a week. I usually take Sundays off. I'm fortunate enough to have a sponsor within it, CrossFit Southpaw, but also we at home have a gym here right in our garage that has everything we need: the rig, the bike, the rower, GHD machine. So kind of literally everything that you would need within a CrossFit gym. So especially during COVID, that's been incredible with our gym being shut down. A lot of people have only been able to do dumbbell work and stuff like that, whatever they may have, or no equipment at all. So it's been really, really beneficial to have that right in here. Definitely CrossFit is my big one. But then another big one too is Acceleration Minnesota, the skating treadmill right here, right down the road from me in Arden Hills. So go there. I hop on the skating treadmill for an hour, and that's usually one time a week. I haven't gotten back in there yet. I usually try to get in there beginning of July, maybe right after 4th of July. And then I hit it pretty hard until season starts, once a week, sometimes twice a week. So those are my two big ones. I mean, we used to go to the Factory, which was a great skate park here in Minnesota. I know, RIP.
RIP Factory.
I honestly probably have to give most of my credit to to that facility on helping me in crash ice because of the jumps, the lines that they had there. It was just insane. So I'm still kind of holding out hope that they find a place. But so that was kind of the other big one. I do yoga, another sponsor, Pressed Yoga right here down the road from me. I'm so not flexible. So I suck. I look like a fool in yoga. I do it mostly so I can get the juice at the end of yoga. I'm not going to lie. I try to get in there at least once, if not twice a week, and just kind of do yin yoga. So it's, you hold the poses for anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes. And so it's just, I know. No, it's
that
brutal.
sounds horrible.
Yeah, that does not.
I don't have the attention span for 6 minutes.
I can't stand for 6 minutes, let alone do a yoga pose for 6 minutes.
I know. It can be brutal. I leave this place dripping in sweat and I feel like everybody else is like pecking like a pretzel and I'm just like in there looking like a struggle bus. But it's been really, really good just to kind of get in the heat and try to get some more flexibility because something that I've never been good at. So, yeah.
So it's, on ice, off ice, skating, treadmills, yoga, you got to have some way of recovering, right? I know you have a sponsor that you want to mention that kind of takes care of your back, a little bit of massage here and there.
Made to Move Chiropractic right there. They're incredible. Dr. Luke and Dr. Carly, huge shout out to them. I go in there once a week, sometimes twice a week during the season, but they literally get me tuned up, dialed in, feeling great. So they really are. Yeah. I was seeing a previous chiropractor for a while with no benefits. I went in there and within that first month of hitting it heavy, I was seeing results. So they're incredible and also a great sponsor for us.
I think that's fantastic. Just kind of keeping in line here for anybody new trying to get better at the sport, especially on the women's side too, even if they're popping out to a Riders Cup for the first time. What's maybe 1 or 2 skills that they could work at, stuff that they should maybe train at? Should they go to a skate park? Skate
parks are great training tools. Obviously, too, if you're not familiar with ice, obviously just getting on the ice, it's a total different feel. I had quite a few females reach out to me that are from Cali and Hawaii and all these places where it's tough to get obviously ice time. So the best advice I can give them is to get out in the skate park. For me, I really do love CrossFit to build the strength. It's constantly varied. Stuff is always different, similar to what we see on the courses. But yeah, even if you have mountains around you, going skiing, snowboarding, anything to kind of feel speed and sometimes even the wobbles, out of controlness, and getting that back. And then, the wobbles, we've all had them.
Speed wobbles.
And then just if you can, trying to get some air time because when I first started Crash Ice, I was starfishing, I was flailing, I was all over the place. The circles, swimming, all those things I was doing and still do for sure. Trying to get a feel for that air is something so different. I've been playing hockey now for 7 years. Nothing compares to hitting a jump at 30 miles an hour. It's something that you don't get every day.
Silence in the air and just
hoping your feet land.
Well, hitting the jump's the easy bit. It's the landing part that's difficult. So you can get 9/10 of the way, with no skill. It's that last 10th there you're really it's gonna really make or break what's going down.
Some strong ankles. Get some strong ankle support.
Oh yeah.
A lot of tape will help too.
And know when to jump. Not everything needs to be jumped. And some things can't be jumped. This is true. You will learn this very quickly on some tracks.
It is true, yeah. And some things you can't take at full speed.
Sometimes
a lot of those obstacles are major challenges.
Sometimes going slow is going faster.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Slow is going faster. Now you sound like half speed.
Slow and faster. Well, maybe he's onto something, guys. Come on.
Give him some credit.
From track to track, what would you say would be some challenges in the ladies division? You've asked about being a long track, St. Paul maybe having the wall ride. Do you feel like you're seeing anything different as a challenge on the women's division?
As far as the women go, you can have a variety of different athletes. You have Jacqueline, who is really good at technical courses. You have AubyNAussie, who has kind of gotten good at all around, staying tucked. Yep. Going super small.
You can't draft her because she's so little.
no.
Like, nothing you can do.
Drafting. Gosh, it's the worst. Like, and she's so little. You think it'd be an easy body to pass, but like when she's tucked like that and she's just drafting, man, it's hard. Miriam, who's kind of like your big body, as you could call her on the women's side, that's hard to pass. But yeah, so I mean, every course is completely different. And I think, where I started seeing my success is when I was able to get good at more than just one course. Like, I first saw my success in Uvascula, which completely makes sense. It was not technical. It was skating. It was just cardio. Can you go for a minute long? Full speed. Like, that's right up my alley. Like you said, I played hockey my whole life. That stuff is natural. You throw me into Marseille a few years back and I struggled, so just really trying to get good at all aspects. And it's really hard because like you said, you have a course that's a minute long. You have a course that's 20, 30 seconds long. How do you possibly prepare for all the different things that are going to be thrown at you? It's really hard. Yeah. Just kind of finding your weaknesses and practicing them, trying not to have any weaknesses is what I do. Like, you're always going to have weaknesses, but
I have so many.
We all do. We all have weaknesses, but trying to master the weaknesses. Was
Marseille the track you fell off the start ramp onto the artificial ice? Was that?
Yeah. They had
that weird little dip onto the artificial ice because they messed it up.
Yeah, one thing that really stood out to me here is Trunzo just really didn't seem to have it together.
Yeah, and I got really lucky because I ended up making it to the finals there, but I really, honestly, truly shouldn't have. Yeah, like my quarterfinal, I think went okay. My semifinal was a hot mess. I fell off the start, and then I actually fell, I think, again on the drop. And then luckily Miriam fell in front of me and I was able to pass her and like hold her off. Yeah. I think what saved me on that one is people being fearful. Like, I mean, it was a scary freaking track. Like that drop,
that drop was terrifying. Yeah.
I mean, some women were literally just like figure four-ing sliding on their butt. Like, and I mean that in the utmost respect. Like, it was freaking scary. Like, the women went first, to hop on the track. And I remember actually Miriam and I were the first two girls to like just send it, just like go. And then I'm like, oh, that was really scary. And I thought it took us a long time to like go down and get the guts to do it. And then I remember looking up because we stayed after for the men, I remember looking up and seeing like some of the top guys. And I was like, they're not going. Like, they're a little scared. I'm like, okay, now it makes you feel good because I was like scared out of my mind. And then to see some like men just standing up there, like mustering it up enough to just like hop in. I'm like, we got this. But that was a scary track. I mean,
that was the scariest drop I've seen.
I saw Fish step down. So John Fisher, probably one of the most fearless skaters I've ever seen. He would just do anything without even thinking. I watched him during one of the races step down the ledge and then skate down it. So not drop in. And it was, yeah.
I remember seeing that now that you say it too. Yeah.
Correct you, Aussie. He's not skater. He's glider.
True. Sorry. He does have the skiing background, doesn't he?
One of the best ever.
It's crazy. That's something I'm terrible at, gliding. Could get me on a gliding track. Like, I just think I understand the physics of it, and like I still will keep moving my feet. I don't know why. I just move, thinking that's faster, but it's not.
Okay, I think actually a couple episodes we talked about a little bit on the ATSX side, USIX. At least on the men's, we obviously have a country quota, stuff like that. Is it the same for the women's division? Do you have a country quota? Does that work for Riders Cups or ATSX 1000 races?
Yeah, we do have a quota. It's going to transmit me out. I believe it's 4 with a wild card, making it 5. But, unfortunately for the women, a lot of times we we're not taking enough women to fill that quota. So like I kind of mentioned before, me, Tam Mavison, Sam Mavison, we're kind of those three that you could guarantee to be at those big races. But then, we get the wild card spots. Like I know Canada, they have a lot more women vying for those spots that want it. So that's when those wild card spots come into play in those Ryder Cups for the U.S. so far. Knock on wood, I would love for it to get to the point where we have to, unfortunately, like, sounds weird, but like turn down people because that means the sport is growing. But like,
exactly.
I love the challenge and I love to be pushed. So even to have Pam and Sam who are upcoming, like that's great for me to try to keep moving along as well. Like sometimes you can get complacent and comfortable. I just don't want that feeling. So I love the more the merrier. I've had a couple girls reach out to me from the US who have actually joined in a couple races. Yeah, I love to help them. I love to it's never like I don't want to share with you my tactics or my tricks or anything like that. Like I want to give them as much as I can to keep growing the sport. This could come off in a cocky way, but like I don't mind giving them the tools and the tricks because it's like I want to beat them at their best. Like I still have the confidence that I'll give you all these tools, but I still have the confidence in myself. I'm going to beat you. Might not happen, but that's just
up that skill level.
Yeah. Like I want to keep the sport growing. And so I love when people reach out to me on Instagram and stuff like that for tips and all that.
So you don't, I was going to say, so you don't have, you don't fill the quota for the American women all the time, do you? So that means that people listening in should, if they want to skate, just hit up Trunzo. Just be like, hey, I want to do this. How do I do it? Let's get these spots filled.
Yeah, for sure. I do all the women's, most of the women's side, 99% of it for the US side of things, and getting the rosters filled and reaching out. And if you're listening and you want to join, come on out. I still always do suggest doing the ATSX 250s are a little bit smaller race first, but we did have some in Boston when we got quite a big quota. So it was the national race for us. So I think we got 8 or something. And so we were able to actually, there was quite a few Boston girls who wanted to do it. So they reached out and were like, hey, come on out. Might be that's kind of scary to jump into that on your first go around. So I always still do suggest trying to get them to a 250 race or even a 500 race to make sure that they like it and make it a little less intimidating.
I think that's perfect. I mean, reach out to Trunzo with any questions, even if they're the smallest questions, the weirdest questions, doesn't really matter. I think we've all heard them. And then obviously the next step is sign up for a Riders Cup 250. Travel out there, give it a shot and see what you think. We obviously talked about a little bit what it takes to get to the top, but once you've gotten there, and we can see by the 2 trophies behind you, there's obviously extracurriculars that happen once you're champion, right?
Right.
What would you say? I mean, do you enjoy a little bit of the extra attention, social media, paparazzi?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, to say I don't, that'd be kind of a lie, just in the sense of I love the opportunities it's presented me. I've got to go to Red Bull headquarters and work with Lolo Jones, Olympian, and do workouts with her. I get free Red Bull supply. I've got to do, I'm a huge CrossFit person. So I've gotten to work out with Camille LeBlanc, who was fittest woman on earth in, I think, 2014. So, it's presented so many cool opportunities for me. And yes, it can get a little bit taxing, more so around race time, just the amount of interviews and press time and stuff like that. But, I think it's also part of it, and it does make it kind of more special. It helps with sponsors. It gives them some publicity. Yeah. I mean, like this year when I got to Japan and literally landed, I had to hop on the train right into Yokohama from Tokyo. I literally got to our hotel, dropped off my stuff. I had an interview that day. So I dropped off my stuff, walked over to the Intercontinental after traveling for, 15, 16 hours, whatever it was, with travel time to get to the airport in Minnesota. So 15, 16 hours, walk to the Intercontinental, hop in a van with like Jacqueline, Anais, Maxie, and drove. It took us an hour and 40 minutes to get to this sumo wrestling place, which is super cool experience. Drove an hour and 40 minutes. We're there for 2-3 hours and back another hour and 40 minutes, hour and a half. So, made for, I didn't get back. I didn't eat and the next day you're hopping pretty much on the ice. So some of that can get a little taxing, but I still always say yes to it because when the heck else am I going to get to go sumo wrestle? It's just not going to happen. So yeah, it took an adjustment though, for sure, to kind of get used to that.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, and playing college hockey at, you said Dartmouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously that was cool too. You played in front of fans, but to go from that to ice cross, racing down a track with over 100,000 people, being inside Fenway Park, 16,000 plus, that's got to help with your sponsor hunt a little bit. And being champion, are you able to make a living? What do you do for a living besides ice cross?
I actually work at a school, Lionsgate Academy. I do behavioral work for that school. It's a school that specializes with students who have autism. So I do all the behavioral stuff for that school. I also own a business in the construction field, new construction field. But, I do have to say I feel very fortunate and blessed with my sponsors. Obviously, ice cross is not enough to make a living solo, but for me, it's been a really good, third income, you could say, just with the success I've had in the sport and, my sponsors, I have, they've made it really easy to travel, for me to travel, for my partner, Michelle, to travel. I'm very, I don't exactly know what everybody else gets, but, you kind of talk and you hear things. And I think I'm definitely one of the most fortunate and blessed when it comes to my sponsors and the support.
Well, it's fantastic. You definitely deserve it. That's for sure. Aussie, you're quiet right now over there. You're brewing something.
Yeah, so I've just been quite quiet because I've literally been on mute. I was gonna start talking randomly, and you guys be like, "No, you're on mute. We can't hear you." But yeah, it is what it is.
No, seriously, that was perfect. And again, I know we said it earlier. Trunzo, just real quick, for anybody looking to get in the sport, where can they follow you again? Where can they give you a shout out?
At Amanda Trunzo on Instagram. They can follow me there. I do have a Facebook too, but I'm mostly on Instagram. Catch a lot of little action on there. Lake life, training life, dog life, all that fun stuff.
And AubyNAussie, we obviously recommend going and giving her a follow. We thank you guys and we challenge you viewers at home. Subscribe to AubyNAussie. Any questions, comments, leave them below. Business inquiries, ideas for future episodes, you can go ahead and email us at AubyNAussie@gmail.com. Next episode, we're going to lead into our junior division. But for now, it's your favorite ice cross Ginger and Aussie signing off.
It's all downhill from here.
Go nuts. Any sign of destruction's on us.
Almost there.
My adrenaline's pumping, feel it all in my veins. Don't worry, percussions, then stay out the way. Like a lineman rushing to take them out of the game. Got the party jumping and tearing out of the frame. I'm talking mosh pit, jumping,